Go open your freezer right now. I'll wait. If your house is like most houses, there's a bag of freezer burned chicken from who knows when, half a bag of peas, and a lot of empty space. That empty space is costing you money. The average family in this country throws away over $1,000 of food a year, food they paid for, carried home, and then scraped into the trash. And the whole time, sitting right there in the kitchen, is a machine that stops food from going bad. You already own it. You're already paying to run it. You're just not using it. Today, I'm counting down 15 foods most people don't know they can freeze. Some of these folks will argue with me about. A couple of them, I'll tell you honestly, come out a little different than they went in. And I'll tell you how to handle that because I won't pretend otherwise. And number one is the one that saves me the most every single year. So stay for that. Number 15, cooked rice. People make a pot of rice, eat half, and the other half sits in the fridge until it turns into a brick and goes in the trash. Freeze it. Spread it in a freezer bag, press it flat, and it stacks like a book on the shelf. When you want it, a few minutes in a hot pan or the microwave with a splash of water, and it's better than fresh. That's why the frozen rice pouches at the store cost $3 for what's maybe 30 cents of rice. One thing, and this matters, rice that sits out warm for hours can make you genuinely sick. So don't leave it on the stove all evening. Cool it quick and get it in the freezer the same night. That's the whole rule. Number 14, pancakes and waffles. If you've ever bought a box of frozen waffles, you paid somebody a fine wage to do what your Saturday morning already does for free. Next time you make a batch, make a double batch. Lay the extras on a baking sheet, freeze them so they don't stick together, then bag them, straight from the freezer into the toaster on a school morning. My kids never knew the difference, and I never told them. Number 13, mashed potatoes. Here's one that surprises people. A raw potato freezes terribly. It turns to a wet, grainy mess. Don't bother. But mashed potatoes, made the way you should make them anyway, with real butter and milk, freeze beautifully. The fat is what holds them together. Scoop them into portions, freeze, and warm them up with a little extra butter stirred in. Thanksgiving prep, weeknight suppers, done a week ahead. The instant flakes in a box exist for people who don't know this. Number 12, soup and chili. Now, some of you know this one, but you're doing it in big containers that take 3 days to thaw and hog the whole shelf. Freezer bags, laid flat. A flat bag of chili thaws in a sink of cold water in under an hour, and you can stack 10 of them in the space one container takes. One honest caution, soups with milk or cream in them can separate when they thaw. They're not ruined, heat them, gentle and whisk, and most come right back. Or do what I do, freeze the soup without the cream and stir it in when you reheat. Problem solved before it starts. Number 11, bread. Bread does not belong on your counter going stale, and it does not belong in your fridge. The fridge actually makes bread go stale faster, which almost nobody knows. The freezer stops the clock completely. Whole loaves, half loaves, those good bakery loaves you find marked down, buy 2, freeze 1. Slice it before you freeze it, and you can pull out 2 slices at a time and toast them straight from frozen. A loaf that would have fed the trash can feeds your family instead. By the way, methods like these, I've got a whole book of them. Every trick I use to run this house for less, all written down in one place. It's on my website, the link's right below the video. Go grab it if you want it. I won't bring it up again. Number 10, cheese. Here's where people go wrong, so listen close. A block of cheese frozen whole comes out crumbly. Still fine for cooking, but it won't slice pretty. Shredded cheese, though, freezes almost perfect because those bags are already dusted with a little starch that keeps the shreds loose. So when shredded cheese goes on sale, I buy 4 bags and 3 go straight in the freezer. Toss it frozen onto a casserole or a pizza, and you'd never know. Cheese is one of the most expensive things in your cart. Stop letting it mold in the drawer. Number 9, butter. This one's short because it's simple. Butter freezes for months with no change at all. None. So, when it drops to sale price around the holidays, and it always does, every November buy 6 pounds and put 5 in the freezer. You just bought next summer's baking at this winter's price. That's not a trick, that's just paying attention. Number 8, cooked pasta and whole pasta dishes. Plain cooked noodles freeze fine. If you pull them a minute or 2 early, before they're fully soft, they finish cooking when you reheat them. But the real winner here is the full dish. Lasagna, baked ziti, mac and cheese. When you make one, make two. It's barely any extra work, the mess is already made. Here's the trick, so you don't lose your pan for a month. Line the dish with foil, build the casserole, freeze it, then lift the whole frozen block out, wrap it, and put your pan back in the cupboard. When you want it, drop the block back in the same pan and bake. A frozen lasagna at the store runs $12, $15. Yours costs $4, and it tastes like yours. Number 7, milk. Yes, milk. People do not believe me on this one until they try it. Milk freezes just fine. You only need to know 2 things. 1, pour a cup out first, because milk expands when it freezes and a full jug will split. 2, when it thaws, it separates a little, so give it a good shake and it comes back together. Is it identical to fresh for drinking? It's close. For cooking and baking, you cannot tell at all. So when milk gets marked down near its date and stores mark it down all the time, that's not risky milk. That's cheap milk with a freezer waiting for it. Number 6, cookie dough. Never bake a whole batch of cookies again unless you've got a crowd coming. Make the dough, scoop it into balls, freeze the balls on a tray, bag them up. Now you bake 4 cookies on a Tuesday night, straight from frozen, add a couple minutes to the time. Fresh, warm cookies in 15 minutes, any night, no bowl to wash. The tubes of dough at the store are $4 for what costs you, maybe $1 in flour and butter. They're selling you your own grandmother's recipe back at a markup. Now, before we get to the top 5, which is where the real grocery money is, let me tell you what does not freeze. Because I said I'd be honest and I meant it. Lettuce, cucumbers, anything you eat raw and crisp, no. They come out limp and weeping and there's no saving them. Mayonnaise and anything held together with it, like a dressed potato salad, it splits, don't bother. Fried food loses its crunch, edible, but sad. And sour cream turns grainy, though it's still fine stirred into a hot dish. Knowing what not to freeze is half of trusting your freezer. There, now you know. Number 5, overripe bananas. Those 3 brown bananas on your counter are not garbage. They're the best baking bananas you'll ever own. Peel them, bag them, freeze them. When you've got a lazy Sunday, thaw a few, and you've got banana bread from fruit you were about to throw away. I keep a running bag in my freezer door and add to it all year. That bag is worth a dozen loaves. The trash can has gotten enough of your bananas. Cut it off. Number 4, breakfast sandwiches and burritos. This is the one that pays for itself fastest if anybody in your house buys breakfast on the way to work. One Sunday morning, scramble a dozen eggs, cook some sausage, and build a stack of sandwiches or burritos. Wrap each one, freeze them, and there's 2 weeks of breakfasts. A minute and a half in the microwave, wrapped in a paper towel. The drive-thru charges $5 for that. Yours costs about $1, and you know what's in it. Somebody's making a living off the fact that mornings are rushed. It doesn't have to be off of you. Number 3, flavor cubes, and this one's my favorite kind of trick because it rescues the little things. That can of tomato paste where the recipe wanted 1 tablespoon and the rest went furry in the fridge. Spoon the rest into blobs on wax paper, freeze, bag them. Frozen tablespoons of tomato paste, forever. Drop one in a pot whenever. Same with fresh herbs, chop them, pack them into an ice cube tray, cover with a little olive oil, freeze. All winter long, you're dropping summer herbs into your cooking while the store charges $3 for a wilted plastic clamshell. Leftover wine works the same way, frozen in cubes for cooking. The little wastes are the ones that bleed you, because you never see them go. Number 2, full cooked meals, meatloaf, pot pie, shepherd's pie, casseroles of every kind. Here's the principle, and it's the one that changed how I cook more than anything else. Never cook once when the same mess makes 2. Browning 2 pounds of meat takes the same pan and nearly the same minutes as 1. So every time I cook, 1 supper goes on the table and 1 goes in the freezer. Within a few weeks, you've got a shelf full of home-cooked meals, and here's what that shelf really is. It's the night you're sick, the night practice ran late, the night you almost ordered $40 of takeout. That shelf is your own restaurant, already paid for. The freezer meal industry is worth billions of dollars, and every one of those billions came from somebody who didn't know they could do this themselves. Okay, quick pause. If this kind of plain, no-nonsense saving is your kind of thing, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. That's all I'll say about it. Number 1. Eggs. I know. Everybody thinks eggs can't be frozen. And here's why the confusion. You cannot freeze an egg in its shell. It expands, the shell cracks, it's a mess. But crack them into a bowl, whisk them lightly, and pour them into a freezer bag or an ice cube tray, 1 egg per cube, and eggs freeze beautifully for months. Thawed in the fridge overnight, they scramble, they bake, they do everything a fresh egg does. Now, think about what egg prices have done these last few years. Up, down, up again, and every spike, the news acts like there's nothing you can do. There is. When eggs are cheap, buy the big pack and freeze half of it. When the price doubles, you're eating last month's price while everyone else groans at the shelf. 1 egg, 1 cube, label the bag with how many. That's it. Of everything on this list, this is the one that saved me the most, year after year. Now, let me say the plain thing before we're done. There's a reason nobody taught you any of this. The grocery store makes money twice when your food goes bad, once when you buy it, and again when you replace it. The frozen food aisle is an entire industry built on cooking your food for you, freezing it, wrapping it in a pretty box, and selling it back at 4 and 5 times what it costs to make. There's no meeting where they decided to keep quiet about your freezer. They just have no reason to mention it. A family that freezes its own food buys less, wastes less, and can't be rushed into paying whatever the shelf says this week. That family is a bad customer. Be a bad customer. 2 small rules so all of this actually works. Get the air out of the bag. Air is what causes freezer burn, so press it flat and squeeze it out. And label everything with what it is and the date, because I promise you, in 3 months you will not remember, and mystery bags are how frozen food becomes thrown away food with extra steps. So here's your first step, and it's tonight. Before bed, walk to your kitchen and find one thing that's about to go over the bananas, the half loaf, the milk near its date, and put it in the freezer. One thing. That's how this starts. And tell me in the comments, what's the one food you freeze that makes people look at you funny? Because I guarantee somebody's grandmother froze something I've never thought of. And I read every one of these. Half of what I know came from women like you. Next time, I'm going to show you how I turn 1 whole chicken into 4 separate suppers, because the price per pound on a whole bird versus parts is one of the quietest robberies in the store. You'll want to see the math. I'll see you then.